And it's another Friday night in October, which means it's another edition of Trinity Catholic Football. Welcome in, everyone, to TrinityCatholicHS.org. My name is Dwayne Cook, and I'm all the way here in Tallahassee, along with Brian Morgan, our producer of the broadcast, to bring to you Celtics football as they take on Tallahassee Godby. The Celtics enter this game off a win, a district win against Father Lopez, and what a win it was, 55-13 in favor of Trinity Catholic. They didn't do a whole lot of passing in that ball game, only 2 for 5, but the ground game was fantastic. 29 carries for 435 yards and 7 touchdowns. Robert Rivers led the team with 136 yards, but the freshman, Corey King, had his big outing. 6 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. And, of course, we can't forget the third man in that three-headed backfield, Cameron Thompson, who had 6 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown as well. As for Tallahassee Godby, they enter this game at 2-4 on the season, 0-1 in their district. Their head coach is Todd Lanter. He's in his second season, at the helm of the Cougars. Last year, this Cougar ball club went all the way to the finals of the state championship, but they lost to American Heritage 38-0. But gone from that team are 36 seniors, but they replaced those seniors with 21 new ones this year. And in fact, it's senior night here at Gene Cox Stadium in Tallahassee, at Hurley Rudd Field to be exact. And they are all captains tonight for Tallahassee Godby. It's going to be a fun one tonight between the Celtics and Cougars. Again, my name is Dwayne Cook. We're happy to have you along with us here on this Friday night on TrinityCatholicHS.org. We are high above Hurley Rudd Field here at Gene Cox Stadium as the captains are out on the field right now. I mentioned for Godby, all of their seniors are out there as the captains for tonight, specifically out there for the Cougars for the coin toss. Our number 12, Logan Roberts, number 49, Cedric Wood, 29, Emmanuel Godfrey, and number 8, Titus Fain. As for the Celtics, the captains for tonight, Shamori St. Kitts, Jesse Howenitz, Chase Andrews, and Zach Leeds. We'll let you know our referees for tonight as we await the announcement from the coin toss. Our referee is John Griffin, and he's motions that Godby won the toss and they elect to receive. So Trinity Catholic will have the football to start the second half, but we will see the Godby offense out on the field first. Our umpire tonight, Stephen Johnson. The linesman, David Pienta. Line judge, Samuel Carter. Back judge, John Parker. And operating the clock is Scott Manert. And we talked about the fantastic outing for the Celtics last week against Father Lopez. As for Tallahassee Godby, they had a bye week, so they had an extra week to prepare for the Celtics. Both of these teams do have common opponents. Both of these teams have played Trinity Christian Academy out of Jacksonville and also Wakulla out of Crawfordville, Florida. Both teams lost both of those games. In fact, for Tallahassee Godby, they lost to Trinity Christian Academy 56-31. In that game, their quarterback, Darius Bradwell, threw for 259 yards, ran for another 58, and had 4 touchdowns. But he was sacked 7 times in that ball game. Also, they had a great showing from their star receiver, Michael Kerrigan, 8 receptions for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns. And we can't forget the star outside linebacker, Kenny DeGear, who had 11 tackles, a sack, and a fumble recovery in that ball game against Trinity Christian. Again, that was a loss for the Cougars, 56-31 of their last time out. It was the week before the bye week. They lost to Wakulla back on October 1st, 15-6. And, of course, if you remember for the Celtics, they lost to Trinity Christian Academy the first week of the season, 49-6, and then lost to Wakulla at the end of September, 40-14. Before we continue, as we still await kickoff here, as the band is still on the field for Godby, I want to go ahead and recognize the 21 seniors for Tallahassee Godby playing their final game here at Gene Cox Stadium. We talked a little bit about their star receiver, Michael Kerrigan, number 2. He's heading to Troy once he finishes his high school career. Tanner Atkinson, the linebacker, another senior. Titus Fain, another wide receiver. He's going to Kent State. Darius Bradwell, who we mentioned earlier, actually decommitted from Kent State yesterday, according to some of the fans here, and he's considering going to Georgia Southern, is where some of the fans think he will end up. Logan Roberts, the kicker punter, a senior as well. Tyreek James, a corner, going to Florida A&M. Jacoby Wood, another senior. B.J. Gant is a star in the defensive backfield for Godby, but he is out for this game. He is not in pads. He is in his jersey on the sideline, however. Montarius Mo Telfair is another senior we should recognize. Jamal Jackson, a safety, going to Florida A&M as well. Tyquan Watson, their running back. Emmanuel Godfrey as well. Travis Dickey, inside linebacker. He's heading to Charleston Southern. DeMarcus Jackson, Furman Richardson, Cornelius Brown. Cedric Wood, the defensive end, who is going to Florida State University. Marcus Lewis, we mentioned Canny Daigear, the outside linebacker. Also Michael Leonard, who's going to UCF, and Henry Wilson, the tight end, who is heading to the University of South Florida. The Celtics have taken the field, as have the Cougars, as we are just about ready to get set here from Tallahassee. The sun is down, the moon is up, the lights are on here at Gene Cox Stadium and Hurley Rudd Field. I've mentioned the 21 seniors for Tallahassee. Godby for Trinity Catholic, they only have 12. They had 19 last year. I mentioned this Tallahassee Godby team had 36, including their star running back P.J. Simmons, who is now at Kent State. Simmons last year ran for over 1,800 yards and had 20 touchdowns on the ground. Certainly, the Cougars are missing his production this year, sitting at 2-4, 0-1 in the district. As we mentioned a little while ago, Godby won the toss and they like to receive, so that means Trinity Catholic will kick off. Back deep to receive for Godby. Number 21, Samandre Johnson, and also number 2, Michael Kerrigan. Kicking it off for Trinity Catholic will be Tanner Riggs, the senior. Riggs just coming back off of an injury. He's back for the first time, I believe, in a few weeks. And Trinity Catholic is happy to have the senior back. So the lefty puts it on the tee, gets it squared up, and toe meets leather. We're underway. It's a short kick, and it will be caught right around the 25-yard line by Kerrigan. Kerrigan looking for some room. He's going to try to go to the outside. Tries to set up his blocks, but he's swarmed by a few white jerseys right around the 30-yard line. I believe they'll give him forward progress out to the 32, and that is where Godby will start their first offensive series. When you talk about the Cougar offense, it all starts with triggerman Darius Bradwell. We mentioned he was committed to Kent State. He decommitted from the Flashes yesterday, according to some fans, and he is considering Georgia Southern among others, but a lot of people believe that he will attend Georgia Southern next fall. And if you know anything about Georgia Southern, you know that they are a triple option offense, and he is every bit of a dual threat quarterback. They come out in a 5-wide set. They run a spread offense, calling the plays as Scott Scheringer. It's a design quarterback draw as Bradwell picks his way, breaks one tackle out past the 40, out towards the 45, breaking through tackles and out past the 50 down to the 46-yard line. And already on the first play, you see Bradwell showing his legs as he gets a huge gain and gets the Cougars into Celtic territory on the first play from scrimmage. We'll take you through these starters for Godby. We mentioned Bradwell, the quarterback. Tyquan Watson will be the starting running back once he gets back there. They're sticking with the 5 wide right now. Jerry Ray, the sophomore, is the H-back. Bring Kerrigan in motion. The handoff goes to Kerrigan, who will try to find a seam, but he's wrapped up right around that 45-yard line. They'll actually give him the 44, a gain of about 2. That'll bring up 2nd and 8. Jesse Howenitz and Chase Andrews were there to combine on the stop. Receivers for Godby, Michael Kerrigan, we've mentioned a few times. The senior Titus Fain also out there, and junior Michael Hudson. And on the offensive line from left to right, it's Williams, Leonard, Singletary, Evans, and Bradwell. No senior on that offensive line. This time they send Watson in motion, but Bradwell keeps it, breaks a tackle, and keeps his legs churning out past the 40, down to the 38-yard line, a gain of 6, and that'll bring up a very short 3rd and 1. Noah Carmen makes the tackle, the linebacker for Trinity Catholic. I believe Uriah Gilbert has actually switched numbers on us. He's usually number 77, but I believe that's him out there wearing number 90 tonight. Bradwell takes a snap. Once again, a design quarterback draw was met in the backfield. They're trying to keep him stopped there, and they will. Noah Carmen was there. Uriah Gilbert and Jawan Bracey blew it up from the middle. It'll be right around that same line of scrimmage is where they'll spot it, and that'll bring up a 4th and about 1.5 yards. We'll see if Godby is aggressive here. It looks like they will keep the offense out there on the field, so they'll leave it up to Bradwell to try to keep the offense out there on the field. Bradwell once again by himself. 3 receivers to the right and 2 to the left. Takes a snap. Looking to throw, has a man, throws it high, and what a nice hit by Cameron Thompson to knock the ball out of the hands of Michael Kerrigan. Again, the throw is a little bit high from Bradwell, but Kerrigan should have been able to bring it down. But Thompson able to apply the hit right when the ball got there and jar it loose. That'll be a turnover on downs for Godby, and out comes the Celtic offense. And with that, we can mention that junior quarterback Ryan Miller is out for the season with a grade 5 separated shoulder, according to head coach Joe Sturdivant. Certainly a big loss for the Celtics. The 6'4", 225-pound quarterback will sorely be missed from the Celtic offense. In his place will be the junior Chris Doty, who last week threw 2 passes against Father Lopez and had both of them intercepted. Cameron Thompson gets a start at running back. He'll pick his way to the left and get a gain out past the 40 to about the 41. He's still fighting. Some of the offensive linemen are as well. And that'll be a gain of about 3 and bring up 2nd and 7. Again, this Trinity Catholic offense likes to rely on a 3-headed backfield. Corey King, Robert Rivers, and Cameron Thompson, who I mentioned got the start and had that carry there. And when I talked to Coach Sturdivant before the game, he said, I had the guys walk out 10 yards and say, guys, you have 4 downs to get those 10 yards. So I asked him, does that mean you guys aren't looking to punt very much tonight, as there's a flag? It looks like it will be on Godby, as the tackle took off a little bit early that time. We'll wait for the call from our referee, John Griffin. And it will be encroachment against the Cougars. That'll push the Celtics 5 yards forward and bring up 2nd down still. It was number 69, the nose guard, Richard Summers, the sophomore, who jumped early. He said when you come on the road to a place like Tallahassee, you got to be willing to go for it on 4 downs. So don't expect a lot of punting from the Celtics unless they absolutely have to. A full house look in the backfield as Doty takes a snap. Handoff goes to Thompson. Has a little bit of room to the left side, but is swallowed up just shy of the 1st down marker out to the 47-yard line. There on the tackle for Godby was number 43, Marteri Brown, the sophomore inside linebacker. So it's 3rd and short, which is exactly where Trinity Catholic wants to be if you're going to go for it on 4 downs. Both running plays thus far, if you may notice, have gone to the left side, and that's because they don't want to run at Cedric Wood. We mentioned the defensive end / tackle is committed to Florida State University. You certainly want to try to run the ball away from him. Doty goes under center for the first time. A timeout called by Joe Sturdivant. Didn't like the look that Godby was showing on the defensive side of the football. That'll be the first timeout used at 8:27 here in the first quarter. No score early on. In case you're just now joining us, welcome into TrinityCatholicHS.org. My name is Dwayne Cook. Happy to have you along with us on this Friday night here in Tallahassee as the Celtics take on the Cougars from Tallahassee Godby. The Cougars had the football first as they won the toss and elected to receive. Picked up a couple of 1st downs, but were stopped on 4th down as Darius Bradwell tried to take it himself and only needed about a yard or 2, but Trinity Catholic defense had good penetration and snuffed it out and gave the ball back to their offense. The defensive coordinator, I mentioned the offensive coordinator for Tallahassee Godby. The defensive coordinator is Jimmy Tyson. They run the 3-4 scheme. She likes putting a lot of linebackers out there, and one name we'll mention a lot tonight is Kaney Daguerre. Trinity Catholic will come out with the same formation. It's the I. I believe dotting the I is number 20, Cameron Thompson. They send Joanne Bracey in motion, excuse me. That's actually Robert Rivers, who has room off the left side, out past the 50 and the 45, down to about the 43-yard line. A good run off the left side. Again, you see Trinity Catholic wanting to run away from FSU commit Cedric Wood, and it works for a 1st down. Again, when I talked to Coach Sturdivant prior to the game, he said, we're going to stick to what we've been doing the past few weeks. Power offense, we want to run the football down their throat, at least try to. I mentioned last week against Father Lopez, they only threw the ball 5 times. They ran it 29 times and had 15 yards per carry as they picked up 435 yards. Full house look again. Doty gives the handoff to Rivers, who goes off the left side. Is stopped. Daguerre makes his 1st tackle of the night. Still a gain of about 2 for the Celtics. That'll bring up 2nd and 8. With the philosophy from Coach Sturdivant tonight of you have 4 downs to get 10 yards, he said if we can get about 2.5 yards a pop, we'll be good to go. That time it's right about that 2.5 yards, maybe a little bit less. On my roster, I have Uriah Gilbert as number 77 and Joanne Bracey at 53, but again, I believe they are both number 90 and 99, respectively. Coach Sturdivant didn't mention any jersey number changes to me. But it's hard to miss Juwan Bracey and Uriah Gilbert out there on the field. Bit of a Wildcat look now this time, as it's Robert Rim who's in the Wildcat, and now a flag thrown. I think the left side of the line might have jumped for Trinity Catholic. Actually, no, it'll be a delay of game. So that'll knock Trinity Catholic back 5 yards. Coach Sturdivant not happy with that procedural penalty. Again, with the idea of wanting to run the football, you certainly don't want to get behind the chains. So it'll bring up 2nd and 12 from the 46-yard line. The Celtics need to get down inside the 35 to about the 33 to pick up a first down. They'll stick with the Wildcat look. Doty is the far receiver to the bottom part of your screen. And a little bit of movement this time as well. Godby seems to believe it's on Trinity Catholic, and it is. It will be a false start on the right side of the line. I believe it is the right guard that jumped early, Matthew Martin, the senior. So another 5 yards back, brings up 2nd and 17 and pushes the ball back into Celtics territory past the 50-yard line. We'll see if they decide to stick with the Wildcat look here this far behind the chains. And they will, as it's Robert Rim who has the 2 lead blockers in front of him, Bracey and Leeds. He takes a snap, runs it over to the left side, tries to get outside, but is swarmed quickly by a bunch of blue jerseys. That's a gain of only about 1, and that'll bring up 3rd and very long. I talked to head coach for the Cougars, Todd Lanter, prior to the game. I asked him what the keys to the game were for his squad. Pretty typical answer. He said, we can't turn the ball over, we have to force turnovers. It's pretty much the game of football. Flag comes in from the linesman. And it's going to be a sideline infraction against Trinity Catholic. They won't actually, not a sideline infraction. They will waive off the penalty, and it'll just be a sideline warning against the Celtics. So Doty goes back under center. Handoff goes to Cameron Thompson, who goes right into the middle of that defensive line and is swallowed up at the Cougar 49-yard line, a gain of only about 1, and that'll bring up 4th and long. And Coach Sturdivant said he didn't want to have to punt tonight, but in this situation, he will bring out the punting unit. It's Mason Jacoby who will come out and punt it away. Back to receive for Tallahassee Godby will be number 36, Furman Richardson, one of the 21 seniors on this Cougar team. 6:15 and rolling here in the first quarter. No score early on between the Celtics and Cougars. Coming off the edge, it was close. Kerrigan was very close to getting a hand on that one. It's a good punt from Jacoby. Lands at the 15-yard line. Takes a Godby bounce out past the 25. Finally is stopped by Jesse Howenitz at the 27-yard line. So certainly not the bounce Jacoby or the Celtics wanted, but still the Cougars will be in their territory and have a ways to go to get down to the goal line. We'll get to see the quarterback for the Cougars, Darius Bradwell, for the second time tonight. We've seen him make plays with his feet already in this one. He had one throw to Michael Kerrigan where it was just a little bit high to the senior wide receiver, but still Kerrigan had his hands on it. But it was a nice timed hit by Cameron Thompson to knock the ball loose. I believe we have a timeout on the field for our first water break of the ball game at 5:58 in the first quarter. Again, no score between Trinity Catholic and Tallahassee Godby. Defensively, the starters for Trinity Catholic, Zach Leeds and Shamori St. Kitts are the starting ends. Juwan Bracey and Uriah Gilbert, the 2 tackles. In the linebacking core, Noah Carmen, Chase Andrews, and Jesse Howenitz. And on the back end, Robert Rivers, Cam Thompson, Robert Rim, and also Neal. Water breaks over. Bradwell with a quick hitter to Kerrigan out to the right side. Howenitz trying to hang on, and he does. A nice job by the linebacker, Jesse Howenitz, to get into the backfield and break up that screen play. I believe it's going to stay right at the original line of scrimmage, so it will not go as a loss, but it will bring up 2nd and 10. Actually, now the yard marker will move back about half a yard, so it will go for a tackle for loss for Howenitz. He's been fantastic this year for Trinity Catholic. He leads the team in tackles with 58. Handoff goes to Watson, and he is met in the middle right past the 30-yard line down to about the 32-yard line. That's a gain of about 5, and that'll bring up 3rd and 6. If you're Trinity Catholic, you have to really try to keep Godby behind the sticks because Bradwell is very dangerous with both his arms and his legs. Interesting formation, 3 receivers all in a line to the left side. Bradwell will show off the arm this time, and he just overthrows his receiver. It was intended for Michael Kerrigan. He was the lone receiver on the far side of the field. One-on-one matchup against Robert Rim, and Bradwell just led him too far. That'll bring up 4th down, and Godby will be forced to punt it away again. A nice job by the Celtics defense to get the Cougars to go 3 and out. We'll wait for the punt from Skylar Roberts, but the Celtics should, or excuse me, Logan Roberts, but the Celtics should certainly have good field position here. Back to receive is Cameron Thompson. Looks like the Celtics are showing block here. We'll see if they go after it. And they do. Roberts able to get it off, however. It's a short punt, lands at about the 40, takes a Trinity Catholic bounce out close to the 45. They'll spot it at the 44, and that's where the Celtics will begin their second offensive series. 4:43 on the clock here in the first quarter, no score between the Celtics and Cougars. Dwayne Cook here with you on TrinityCatholicHS.org. In Tallahassee, Florida, high above Hurley Rudd Field at Gene Cox Stadium. As Trinity Catholic has their second to last game here against Godby. Next Friday they'll play at Trinity Prep in a district game. But with the win over Father Lopez last week, the Celtics clinched a playoff berth as the top 2 teams in Class 3A District 3 get to go to the playoffs. That time, a handoff to Corey King. The freshman is blown up immediately by Cedric Wood, and a player down for the Celtics. It's the lead fullback, number 45, Zach Leeds. And the clock will stop as the training staff is going to have to come out and take a look at the fullback for the Celtics, although he's trying to tough it out and get off the field on his own power. Noticeable limp. Hopefully he will be able to continue in this ball game. A great job by the defensive line for Tallahassee Godby, being able to provide penetration on that play and get to King before he could get his head or get a head full of steam and get downhill. Again, we mentioned his stats last week against Father Lopez, 6 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was fantastic. Doty goes under center. King remains in the ball game, dotting the I. The handoff goes to him once again, and once again, a lot of blue jerseys in the backfield. The nose guard that time for Godby, Richard Summers, was there to bring the freshman down. Another loss of about 2 on the play. That pushes Trinity Catholic past their own 40 down to the 39-yard line. They need to get to the Cougar 46-yard line in order to get a first down.
It's a 3rd down now and 9.
It'll be the I formation once again. Doty under center, King dotting the I. Chase Andrews now the fullback. Fake handoff. Doty's under heavy pressure, and he'll be dropped as there he is, Caney Dygear. We said we'd say his name quite a few times tonight. The outside linebacker comes up and records his 6th sack of the season, of the season, the team-leading 6th sack. Coming into the game, he had 43 total tackles. 8 of those were for loss, and he sniffed out that play-action play right from the beginning, and Trinity Catholic will be forced to punt the football away. This should give the Cougars very good field position. Once again, back to receive for Godby is number 36, Furman Richardson. Jacoby gets it off. Short punt. It hits off his hands, and he will just fall on it right around the 46-yard line, or excuse me, 44-yard line. And that could have been a disaster for Godby. If the ball would have held up in the air a little bit longer and given the Celtics gunner some time to get down there, could have possibly come up with a fumble recovery. But as it stands, the Cougars will have the football at the Celtic 44-yard line. We'll get to see Bradwell once again. He'll have 2 backs in the backfield with him. Kerrigan to his right, Fain to his left. Handoff goes to the running back, number 21, Samandre Johnson. He gets a gain of about 3 on the play to bring up 2nd and 7.
Samandre Johnson taking the handoff that time. A gain of about 4.
Same formation, no huddle offense from Godby here. This time he goes the other way, hands it off to Watson, who has a crease. Breaks 1 tackle, he's out in the open. A flag comes in from our back judge, but Watson, Rivers going to try to make it there, but he will not, as Watson will stroll into the end zone, Tyquan Watson, but let's wait and see what the flag is as it's sitting back at the Celtic 42-yard line. It looks like this one is coming back as all the blue jerseys are starting to head back down the field. Again, the back judge threw it. John Parker will wait for John Griffin to give us the signal of what happened. And it's going to be an illegal block in the back against Godby. So a huge touchdown run for Tyquan Watson is wiped out on the block in the back. That'll bring Godby all the way back. It'll be a 10-yard foul from the spot, so they will head back onto their own side of the field as it was at the 42-yard line of the Celtics. That'll also bring up a replay of second down. But on that play, you see the big play ability from this Godby offense. They certainly have it. You talk all about Bradwell, but certainly the senior running back, Tyquan Watson, has that ability as well. He's listed at 6 foot, 176 pounds. He's one of those guys that'll play football at the college level, but he's undecided where he wants to go. Fakes the handoff to Watson, who was on the sweep, and a big hit laid by the safety, Robert Rivers, who came up and hit number 21, Samandre Johnson. A late flag on the play comes in. A little bit of jawing from both sides. Robert Rivers came out of his safety position and lowered the shoulder on Samandre Johnson. We'll wait and see what the penalty is, as this one came from the umpire, Stephen Johnson. It's going to be a dead ball personal foul against Trinity Catholic. So after a long touchdown run was brought back from a block in the back, Trinity Catholic is going to go ahead and give Godby a first down thanks to the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
15 yards being marked off again.
After the yardage is marked off, it'll give Godby the football at the Celtic 33-yard line.
The ball at the 33-yard line.
Looks like the Cougars are going to try to go hurry up here as Bradwell talks to his offensive line. They'll turn around quickly and get going as the wide receivers are already lined up. Bradwell fakes the handoff, looking for a man deep, actually goes over the middle, and the pass is caught. A big hit laid by Shamori St. Kitts. Making the grab for Godby was number 84 on the play, Henry Wilson, the tight end, another senior who's going to USF. He's a great target over the middle, is Henry Wilson, 6'3", 210 pounds according to my depth chart, and Bradwell able to find him on the rollout. They'll go to a 4-wide set, 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. That grab from Henry was just shy of the first down marker, I believe. Well, they actually may bring the chain gang out to measure. We'll wait and see. And they will. So the chain gang will head out onto the field. There's a minute 53 on the clock here in the first quarter, as Godby has gotten down pretty close to the red zone for Trinity Catholic. They stretch out the sticks, and it's going to be inches short. So that'll still bring up second down for Godby, as the Trinity Catholic defense will look to bend but not break and give up an early lead. And we talked a little bit about Trinity Catholic will, in fact, be heading to the playoffs, even with the 2-6 record. And even if they lose next week at Trinity Prep, because they hold the tiebreaker. Well, I say the tiebreaker. They don't have any losses in district play, neither does Trinity Prep, whereas Father Lopez has 2. So second and short now for the Cougar offense. Same 4-wide receiver set. It's Fain and Watson to the left, and Hudson and Kerrigan to the right. Johnson in the backfield next to Bradwell. They send Watson in motion from left to right. Bradwell will keep it himself, breaks through a tackle, and is dragged down around the 15-yard line. Celtics say the ball came out. We'll wait for the signal from our referees. Looks like they are calling it a fumble on the play. We'll wait and see. I haven't seen a ruling yet. They're going to say that Bradwell didn't fumble the football until he was on the ground as the clock will roll.
It's a Cougar first down.
On the season, Bradwell has fumbled the ball twice. And Watson, the running back, has one fumble. Also, Michael Kerrigan has fumbled the ball twice as well. So once again, ball pops out for Godby, but they're able, well, this time actually they don't call it a fumble, but remember the punt where the ball did pop out. Bradwell with the quick hitter has a wide open man. Did he get a foot in? Yes, he did, said the line judge. A touchdown catch by number 8 for Godby. And that is Titus Fain, the senior, as Bradwell finds him. He was left wide open right around the goal line. And that'll be the first touchdown of the ball game. On for the point after attempt will be Logan Roberts. Godby lined up in an interesting formation. We'll see if they stick with it or if they bring everybody in and just attempt the point after. It looks like they will bring everybody in. Snap a little low. Kick is up from Roberts. And it is good. So that gets Godby a 7-0 lead, and they are on the board first with 1:15 remaining here in the first quarter. As Bradwell throws his first touchdown pass of the night to senior Titus Fain. It's a senior-senior connection on senior night here in Tallahassee. It's going to be an unofficial 15-yard connection between Bradwell and Fain. And then, as I mentioned, Roberts came on and knocked the extra point through. So the Celtics will get the football back down a touchdown.
Wide open, man.
3 men deep to return. It's Robert Rivers, Cam Thompson, and Robert Rim. Last week, Robert Rim against Father Lopez had a 55-yard return. It was not for a touchdown, but still a 55-yard return nonetheless. Roberts will be on to kick off. Again, we have 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock here in the first quarter. Roberts sends this one high. It's into over in, but it's very short. Caught at the 12-yard line by Cameron Thompson. Trying to find a lane, but he's swallowed up at the 16-yard line. A nice job by the coverage unit for Godby. And the Celtics will start with the football deep in their own territory. Samandre Johnson, who's been featured at running back a little bit tonight for the Cougars, makes a stop on the kickoff. And Doty will bring the troops out onto the field. Again, in case you're just joining us, Ryan Miller, the junior quarterback, out for the season with a grade 5 shoulder separation. So certainly our condolences to that young man. He'll be back for his senior year next year. The junior Chris Doty is taking over under center, and it looks like the end for Godby jumped a little early. We'll wait for the official call, but it was number 16, Antoine Owens, who looked like he had a bit of a head start, and he did, according to the referee, John Griffin. So that'll give the Celtics 5 yards, and it'll be 1st and 5. Beautiful night here in Tallahassee. The lights are on. Not overly warm, not overly cold. It's just about right.
5-yard penalty marked off against the Cougars for encroachment.
The lone receiver in the formation to the near side of the field is Charlie Wheeler. Doty takes a snap, hands it off to Cameron Thompson, who has some room around the left side. Stiff arms out to the 40-yard line and pushed out of bounds. And a nice gain for Trinity Catholic. They'll spot him at the 39 and say he went out there. Getting down the field for Godby to push him out. I believe it was number 14, David LeBird. But a big gain for the Celtics. That gives them 1st down and gets them out near midfield. Clock inside of a minute, 50 seconds to be exact here in the first quarter. Now number 8, Michael Schofield is the lone receiver to the near side. Doty under center. Hands it off to Thompson, trying to pick his way. Has some room. Actually, that's Robert Rivers who gets the carry. He's close to the 45. He'll be dropped down around the 44. a gain of about 5. That'll bring up 2nd and 5. Clock will roll down to 38 seconds. Senior Tanner Atkinson out of his linebacker position makes a stop for Godby. We'll see if Trinity Catholic runs another play. Looks like they will have to, as the play clock is lower than the game clock. Full house formation. Doty in the shotgun, takes a snap. Hands it off to Rivers, trying to pick his way, breaks one tackle, and he'll get maybe a gain of 1.5 yards. He gets out to about the 46-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd and 4, and that'll be the final play of the first quarter. So we'll flip sides of the field and begin our second quarter in just a moment. Only one score in that first quarter, and it came just a few moments ago at the 1:15 mark in the first quarter, as Godby had a 15-yard connection between Bradwell and Fame. The extra point was good from Roberts and made the score 7-0. The Celtics will have 3rd and about 5. Actually, it'll be a long 5. It'll be closer to 6, it looks like, as they need to get out past the 50 for a first down, and they'll have the football at their own 46-yard line. Being in this short situation, though, as Coach Sturdivant, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he said they don't want to punt if they don't have to, if they're not in that long yardage situation. So you have to look at it as the Celtics have 2 downs to get 6 yards. I don't think I ever called out the starting offensive line for Trinity Catholic. My apologies. Let me go ahead and do that. At left tackle is Michael Tarquin, the freshman. Mark Haltewanger is at the left guard position. Matt Nelson, the center. We've called right guard Matthew Martin's name already tonight. He had a false start earlier in that first quarter. And then at right tackle is Josh Gilmore. They're going to lean on those big guys up front heavily tonight, as they will throughout the rest of the season. Wildcat, Robert Rim takes a snap out of the full house formation, picks up maybe 1 yard. The blue jerseys were there quickly to wrap him up. Kaney Dygear was there, as well as Cedric Wood. And that'll bring up 4th and short. Again, I talked about Coach Sturdivant said they're going to go for it, and they will. The offense is out there on the field. They are at the first down marker was spotted incorrectly earlier. They need to get to their own 49 for a first down. So they need 2 yards, and it's going to be that Wildcat formation. They have Bracey and Gilbert as the lead backs. Rim takes a snap, goes over to the right side. Flag is thrown, and he's going to be wrapped up short of the first down. A great tackle on the play by Godby's number 26, Jamal Jackson, who came out of his safety spot and was able to grab the ankles of Robert Rim and didn't let go. We'll await the flag. Looks like the Cougars are signaling that it will be against the Celtics, which would mean that Godby will send their offense out on the field. It will be against the Celtics. It was a holding call that will be declined. So Godby will have the football to start in Celtics territory at the 47-yard line. Actually, they're going to say that Rim lost 1 yard on that attempt, so Godby will have the football at the Celtic 46-yard line, not the 47. Bradwell back out on the field. He has 3 receivers to his right and 1 to the left. They've liked going to that lone receiver a few times tonight. Bradwell looked like he would throw a quick screen, but he takes it himself and gets out to about the 41-yard line. A good gain of about 5 on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 5. He looked for the quick wide receiver screen. He had number 13, Michael Hudson, open on the play, but decided to take it himself. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right now, a pistol formation. Quick hitter out to the right side, throws it over there, and the grab is made by the H-back, number 3, Jerry Ray. That's Michael Kerrigan, number 2. And that'll bring up 3rd and short. It gets them in past the 40 down to the 39-yard line. They need to get to the Celtic 36 for a first down. We just entered into the second quarter. Godby leads at 7-0 over Trinity Catholic at the moment. Pistol formation once again. It's Bradwell with Watson behind him. Ray is the H-back. He'll throw it all the way. Tosses it out to Ray. A great design play by Godby, and Ray is off to the races. He's finally pushed out inside the 20, down to the 16-yard line. They ran a bit of a pick route. They sent number 8, Titus Fain, on a slant route. And the linebacker who had coverage of Ray, I believe it was Jesse Howlands, got caught up on the pick. And Ray was wide open, turned upfield, and had nothing but green grass in front of him. So Godby is back inside the red zone of the Celtics. It'll be 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. It's the same formation they had when Bradwell was able to find Fain for that 15-yard connection. He's going to go with that quick screen pass. It's Hudson who makes the grab. Makes one guy miss. Down to the 5. Cameron Thompson trying to bring him down. Finally gets him down at the 2-yard line thanks to Shamori St. Kitts, who runs all the way across the field from his defensive end position. That'll bring up 1st and goal. With 2 yards to gain, this is typically Darius Bradwell time. And they're going to give him an empty set. 3 receivers to the right and 2 to the left. Trinity Catholic will still load the middle as they're expecting that quarterback draw from Bradwell. They send Watson in motion from right to left. Bradwell will keep it himself. He has a wide open lane, and he walks in for a Godby touchdown. A 2-yard touchdown run by Bradwell. The second touchdown he is accounted for tonight, and it's now 13-0 Cougars, pending the extra point from Roberts. Again, you had to know it was coming. They love using Bradwell's dual threat abilities in the red zone, and that time it was just blocked very well by the right side of the offensive line for Godby, and that's over there Ryan Evans and Delshawn Bradwell. We're at the 9:44 mark here in the second quarter. Kick is up from Roberts, and it will split the uprights to make the score 14-0 in favor of the Cougars. Now down 14-0. We've seen that Trinity Catholic has not gotten ahead of themselves all year long when they've fallen behind. They don't try to do too much. They like to stick with that power run game. It worked a little bit on their first offensive series, but since then, the Cougars have really loaded the box and dared the Celtics to throw the football, and they have yet to do so. 3 men back to return the kick. It's Robert Rivers, Robert Rim, and also Cameron Thompson. Roberts will kick it away for the Cougars. Roberts looks like he's ready to go. Whistle blows. He'll approach the football and will continue play here in the second quarter. Good end-over-end kick. It drives Thompson into the right corner. He catches it right around the 4-yard line. And he will be swallowed up at the 10. Tried to cut back, lost his footing, and blue jerseys were there to bring him down. I believe the first one to make contact on Thompson was number 13 for Godby, and that would be Michael Hudson. So the Celtics will be backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost at their own 10-yard line. Doty back out in the huddle as the Celtics will try to get something going on offense against a very stiff Godby defense. It'll be the I formation. Cameron Thompson, I believe, is the back, dotting the I. The handoff will go to Thompson, who has a little bit of room around the right side, uses that stiff arm effectively, gets out near the 20. They'll spot him at the 18-yard line. A good gain of 8 yards on first down. That'll bring up 2nd and 2. Thompson's been very effective tonight getting outside and using that stiff arm to keep the Godby defenders at bay. He's had a couple of nice runs. He comes off the field that time, a little slow getting up. Replacing him out there will be Robert Rivers.
2nd down and 2.
I mentioned pregame the stats against Father Lopez last week. We mentioned Rivers, King, and Thompson. Those are typically your 3-headed backfield for Trinity Catholic, but I want to give a shout-out to Preston Schofield, a wide receiver by trade. He had 3 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Heck of a game from that young man. Handoff goes to Rivers, uses the jump cut, tries to pick his way near that first down marker, but he's going to end up losing a yard. Maybe he got back to the original line of scrimmage. It was a big hit laid by number 45 for Godby. And that's the sophomore inside linebacker, Marterry Brown. And it will be a gain of nothing for Trinity Catholic as Robert Rivers was able to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd and 2. Handoff goes to Rivers. Has a little bit of room, lowers his head, gets near that first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like it's going to be a half-yard shy of the 20-yard line. That's where they need to get for a first down. When you're this close, and you talk about wanting to go for it on 4th down whenever you can tonight, it's a decision certainly for Coach Sturdivant, because if you don't get it, you give Godby the football in your red zone. 7:47 and rolling here in the second quarter. Godby leads it 14-0 over Trinity Catholic. I said it was a half-yard shy. It might even be less than that. The nose of the football is just shy of that 20-yard line. Doty will head it back out into the huddle, so they will go for it. This is big for the Celtics. You're down by 2 possessions. It's still a little bit early in the game. You're here in the second quarter, about halfway through. But still, you don't want to give Godby the football this deep in your own territory. Doty will keep it himself. And it looks like he was able to squeeze his way through there and pick up the first down as it's out past the 20-yard line, and that's where, or they will move the chains, excuse me. So big 4th down conversion for Trinity Catholic. They get a new series of downs. Cedric Wood coming off the field for Godby. Again, he's the Florida State commit, defensive end / defensive tackle, listed on the roster that I have at 6'4", 295 pounds. But he's holding on to his right side right now. Doty in the shotgun. Takes a snap. He'll hand it off to Rivers, who picks his way through. Down out past the 22-yard line to about the 24. Gain of about 4 on the play. Bring up 2nd and 6. I was talking to Coach Sturdivant before the game, and, you know, it's hard when you have an offense that's as one-dimensional as the Celtics have been this year. Again, the running game has been good. We mentioned the stats last week against Father Lopez, but we also mentioned that Doty was 0 for 2 with 2 interceptions. If you don't make a defense respect your passing game, it's very tough to run the football and get you into a lot of problems. It's Corey King who has the toss sweep to the right side, and somehow he's able to pick up maybe a half yard. It looked like Godby would be able to bring him down in the backfield, but he's able to find his way to maybe a half yard. That'll bring up 3rd and a long 5 or short 6, however you choose to look at it. King will remain in the game at running back. Doty will be under center, as it's the I formation. One lone receiver to the top of the screen. Doty looks like he will throw. He's under heavy pressure, and he's dropped. There to make the sack for Godby. Check the number. Looks like it was looking for the numbers, number 50 something. I didn't catch the second number. 57, Rondarius Dudley, the defensive end. He's a backup who went in for Cedric Wood when he came out of the game. He goes in there and gets his first sack of the season. That'll bring up 4th and long, and Trinity Catholic this time has to punt the football away. Godby's gotten close a couple of times with Kerrigan coming off the edge. Here he comes again. Jacoby trying to get it off. A good block by Doty to push him out of the way. Robert Rim down there as the gunner. It'll be caught by Furman Thompson. He's trying to find his way, but dropped inside the 40 down to the 39. A flag comes in from the back judge. A good hit as Robert Rim was there along with Noah Carmen. We'll await the penalty enforcement. So it might be going against Godby. It's going to be a block in the back against the Cougars. So that'll be a 10 yards back, and it will be a first down for Godby. So that pushes them back a little bit further in their own territory. That's good for the Celtic defense. And we have our water timeout here in the second quarter. Just over 5 minutes remaining, 5:06 on the clock. Cougars lead at 14-0 over the Celtics, and the offense is heading back out there looking for more. We highlighted during our short pregame and throughout that first quarter Darius Bradwell, the quarterback for the Cougars. He's been as advertised for the most part thus far in this ball game. He's used his legs a lot tonight. He's had a couple of throws, some of them just simple wide receiver screen passes. He had one deep throw down the sideline, overthrew his intended receiver. But either way, he has been effective, to say the least, to get the Godby offense moving down the field. It'll be the three receiver formation to the right, one up top. Watson in the backfield with Bradwell. Low snap, handoff goes to Watson. He's able to dive out close to the 35-yard line. It'll be at the 34-yard line is where they'll spot it. Looked like he would only gain about a yard, but with the last lunge, he picks up an extra 3. So it'll be a gain of 4 on first down and 2nd and 6. Actually, the line judge is saying that his knee hit at the 33. So he wants them to move it back a yard. The linesman came up at the 34. The line judge says the 33, and they're going to go with the line judge's call, actually. So knock him back a yard, a gain of 3 for Godby. Bring up 2nd and 7. Two receivers to the right now, one to the left. The H-back Jerry Ray is in the backfield ahead of both Bradwell and Watson. Ball's on the ground. It was a misexchange between Watson and Bradwell. Watson picks it up, reverses field. He has room down the sideline and goes out around the 39. And Godby wants a late hit on that sideline, but it's not going to be given to them. At the 41-yard line is where Watson stepped out of bounds. I believe it was Jawan Bracey who made the hit that was questionable on the sideline. Looked like they might call it a late hit, but no flag thrown.
Ball now at the Cougar 41-yard line.
And it'll be good enough for a first down from Watson. So what should have been, or could have been, I should say, a disastrous play on the misexchange between Bradwell and Watson turns into a first down. Bradwell hands it off to Watson again. Picks his way through, has a big hole out past the 50, dragging white jerseys all the way down to the 45-yard line. Robert Rivers is able to bring him down with some help from Shamori St. Kitts. But a good hard run from Tyquan Watson, and Godby is moving the football down the field once again. 4:23 and rolling here in the second quarter. They lead it 14-0. Looks like they're going to run that wide receiver screen. Now they bring Kerrigan in motion from left to right, trying to find room around the corner. Robert Rim does a fantastic job holding the edge out there. Shamori St. Kitts cleans it up from behind. It's a gain of only about a yard. That'll bring up 2nd and 9, and now I believe a timeout is called by Trinity Catholic. That'll be their second of the half, leaving them with 1. Godby still has all 3. So the clock stops at 4:09. After the timeout, it'll be 2nd down and 9 from the Celtic 48-yard line. At the half, we'll have our scoring summary brought to you by Insight Credit Union with full replays as well of those scoring plays. And then I'll step aside for a moment to take a little bit of a break. And then we'll have second half action here at Gene Cox Stadium coming up after that.
Potato chips, all kinds of good things. When you get hungry, go down and tell them how much you appreciate it.
Looks like the formation for Godby will be 3 receivers to the left of Bradwell, 1 to the right. Watson will be in the backfield in that spread look. Bradwell hands it off to Watson, tries to go up the middle. He's met by a couple of white jerseys. There first was John Johns. Cleaning it up also was Zach Leeds, and Chase Andrews was in on the play as well. Gain of about 2 on the play. It brings up 3rd and long for Godby. So he's going to be the same formation, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Watson in the backfield with Bradwell. And now a timeout called by the head coach for Tallahassee Godby, Todd Lanter. Didn't like what the defensive alignment looked like against the offensive alignment. That'll be the first timeout from the Cougars in this half. 3:34 on the clock. Godby leads at 14-0 over Trinity Catholic. So far on the offensive side of the football, Trinity Catholic hasn't been able to get much going in this one. They're trying to stick with that power running game, especially with junior quarterback Ryan Miller out for the season with that shoulder separation. Chris Doty filling in admirably, running the offense. It's just a situation where at this point, Godby doesn't respect the passing offense for Trinity Catholic, and it's making it a little bit difficult to run the football when the Cougars are putting 10 in the box. So Godby's back out on the field. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right.
Third down now, and about 7.
Bradwell in the shotgun with Watson behind him. Takes a snap. Give is to Watson. He goes up the middle, turns his legs, gets out past the 40 down to the 37-yard line is where they're going to say his knee hit at the 38. That'll bring up 4th and about 4. So a decision here for Godby. You're kind of in no man's land here at the 38-yard line. And it looks like there will be no hesitation. The offense is staying out there.
And they're going to go for it. Let's hear some noise. What do you say? All right, guys, let's go get them.
Bradwell takes a snap, looking for a quick hitter. He has a man wide open. It's Michael Hudson who will go down the sideline, and there's nobody there.
13, Michael Hudson in for the touchdown.
2:56 on the clock in the second quarter, and Bradwell, that's about as easy as a pitch and catch as you'll have between quarterback and wide receiver. It looked like the Celtics went with a zone, and Robert Rim had the flat, and nobody was over the top to find Hudson, and Hudson shows his speed going down the sideline. It's a 38-yard connection between Bradwell and Hudson, the second touchdown pass of the night from Darius Bradwell. Now Roberts will be on to attempt the point after.
Logan Roberts in to attempt the extra point.
And a flag comes in from our back judge. Good news for Godby fans out there. Cedric Wood is on the field for the point after. We had mentioned that he came off the field favoring his right side, but he's back out there. It's going to be an illegal substitution against Trinity Catholic. Godby will decline the penalty and keep it right where it is.
The penalty was against Trinity. The Cougars have declined it. Logan Roberts in to prepare to kick the extra point.
High snap. Fain able to get it down. The kick up from Roberts, and it's good. A heck of a grab by the holder, Titus Fain, for Godby. It was a high snap. The long snapper for Godby is number 60, Bubba Lloyd, the junior. That time got a little bit away from him. But still, the extra point is up and good. It makes the score 21-0 in favor of Godby. Just under 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. So now Roberts will come on to kick it away to the Celtics once again. The 3 men back are Rivers, Rim, and looks like that's actually not Cameron Thompson. Remember, he went off the field a little slowly on that last offensive series. It's going to be number 8, Michael Schofield, back to return in his place. Roberts tees it up. Looks like he's set. And we continue the second quarter here. Good end over end kick. It's going to be down near the goal line, caught in the end zone by Schofield, and that will be a touchback. Looked like he really wanted to return that one, but it will be a touchback, and Trinity Catholic will start with the football at their own 20-yard line.
Michael Schofield down the ball in the end zone.
So down 21. We've talked about the Celtics have really stuck with that power running game throughout all their games this year. Well, at least the past several anyway. They tried to run a more spread look at the beginning of the year and quickly switched from that to the pro style. An offense that Coach Sturdivant said that he's much more comfortable with. And they're going to stick with the heavy formation now. It's going to be Robert Rivers in the Wildcat. Doty will be the lone receiver to the near side. Rivers takes it over to the right side, has some room. A great block, he's out in the open. The 40, the 45, he'll be caught from behind, but a good run for Trinity Catholic as Rivers gets out to the 50-yard line. Ran over to the right side, good blocking over there by Martin and Gilmore. Also the lead back for Trinity Catholic out there was Jawan Bracey was there, as well as number 45, Zach Leeds, who, pun intended, did a nice job leading Rivers into that hole and giving him a lot of room to run. So the Celtics in business now out to the 50-yard line. They're going to stick with that Wildcat look. Corey King in now to spell Rivers. Same exact play. They run to the right side, and a good gain out past the 50 down to the 46-yard line, a gain of about 4. That'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Corey King taking the handoff that time.
So far, the Wildcat at times has been successful. Of course, there have also been times where Godby has been able to sniff it out. For example, on a 4th and short earlier in the ball game, Robert Rim ran it and was caught for a loss. King takes it this time. They're going to run it to the left side, and the Wildcat, a flag is thrown. King able to get a gain of about 2 to the 44, but we'll wait for the flag as the referee is who threw it, John Griffin. We'll wait and see what the call is. Number 45 for Godby, Daryl Stevens, comes hobbling off the field. And we're still waiting for the signal from our referee, John Griffin, as to what the flag's all about. Looks like it will go against the Celtics as they're marching back. And Griffin's going to go have a discussion with Coach Sturdivant. Again, still have not seen a penalty mechanic, so not quite sure what the call is. Might be one of those sideline infractions. The Celtics already had a sideline warning in this one, but we'll see what the call is as we await it from our referee, John Griffin. Clock is stopped at 2:02 here in the second quarter. 21-0 Godby lead. And actually now, okay. They had walked it back towards the Godby side of the field, but now they'll walk off the 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage. And it's actually going to be a procedural penalty against Trinity Catholic. Not exactly sure why it took that long to figure that out. But either way, it'll knock Trinity Catholic 5 yards back, and it'll be 2nd and 11. They'll stick with the Wildcat look. It's King. Jawan Bracey, the lead back to his right. They bring leads from left to right. Dy Gear jumped a little bit early from his outside linebacker position. He's looking to get a head start, and Trinity Catholic will get those 5 yards back. The clock did run since the previous play was a running play. And its clock is going to be at 1:50 now here in the second quarter as we're near the half, folks, but it's just gotten a little bit sloppy here with a few penalties in a row. And it took a while to figure out whatever the procedural penalty was the last time. So Trinity Catholic gets another 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6. They're going to stick with the Wildcat formation. Doty to the near sideline. King in the Wildcat. Takes a snap, goes over to the right, follows Bracey, nowhere to go. He spun backwards, and the ball came out, but they're going to say that King was down. It'll be a loss. They're going to give him forward momentum, so it'll be maybe a loss of about half a yard, and that'll bring up 3rd and 6.5. Clock will roll after the running play, 1:26. Now the clock stops, as I believe Godby uses the timeout. Yes, they will. That's their second of the half. They have one remaining. Trinity Catholic has one remaining as well. It's interesting. We've talked about it a few times this season, how Trinity Catholic has really challenged themselves out of district. You play teams like Trinity Christian, Tampa Jesuit, Clearwater Central Catholic. Wakulla has a very good team this year. Obviously, Godby here in Tallahassee. That's certainly a challenging schedule, to say the least, but it's proven that it's worth it, I guess would be the good way to say it, as they're 2-0 in district play. They're 2-6 on the season, but both of those wins are in district play. And if you want to get to the playoffs, that's what you got to do. Take care of business in your district. We mentioned they have a game next week at Trinity Prep in Winter Park, Florida. Trinity Prep's had a really good year. They're 6-1 and 2-0 in the district as well. Both of those teams will be in the playoffs, and you would assume that it would be a date with Trinity Christian awaiting. Doty rolls out to his right and finds Zach Leeds, who makes the catch but is hit and dropped immediately. So that should be a loss of about a yard. Timeout by Godby. That's their third and final timeout. Stops the clock at 1:11 and brings up 4th down. I would assume this will be a 4th and 9. I would assume that the Celtics will kick it away. Godby is sending out the punting unit, or the punt return unit. Now they'll bring everybody back with the timeout. So again, Coach Sturdivant talked about wanting to go for it on 4th down pretty much all night if he could. And he's had a few opportunities to do so, but there have been a few opportunities as well, or a few moments as well, I should say, that they've been pretty far back and really haven't had a choice. So we'll see what Trinity Catholic decides to do. It looks like the offensive huddle is still out there on the field talking to Coach Sturdivant, so it seems like they will go for it. Again, it'll be 4th and 9. I'm not really sure if I agree with the decision. You punt the football away, you get a good punt from Mason Jacoby, you put the Cougars deep in their own territory possibly. But it'll be Doty in the shotgun either way. He'll drop back to pass. He's going to fire one down the field. Has Genovese, but overthrows him. He had the receiver, and a late flag thrown by the back judge. We'll wait and see what the call is. That was a very late flag from John Parker. And typically when you see that, you think holding on the defense, but we'll wait and see what the mechanic is from John Griffin. This was a huge call here at the end of the first half. And they're going to call defensive pass interference on Godby. The defender back on the coverage was number 23, Jacoby Wood. Again, we mentioned Genovese had a step, but it was overthrown by Doty. And that's going to be good enough for a Celtic first down with just over a minute left in the half. A huge call. Again, it was a late flag from Parker. The head coach, Todd Lanter, certainly not happy at all. Neither are the assistant coaches for Godby as well. Again, I don't think they would have had as much of a problem with it if the flag would have maybe come out at the time it happened. But when you wait 5 seconds and the ball's already hit the ground, you get into kind of a gray area there as far as when you can throw a flag. Either way, the Celtics will take it. It'll push them down inside the 35-yard line to the 34 with a new set of downs. 1:06 on the clock. They do have one timeout. Doty under center, takes a snap, hands it off. Nowhere to go this time, as it will be a gain of a half a yard. Robert Rivers, the ball carrier on the play. Now the timeout used by Trinity Catholic. They will have none remaining. And there's under a minute left, 57.8 seconds on the clock here in the second quarter. Godby leads it 21-0 over the Celtics. If you recall, Godby did win the toss and they elected to receive. So Trinity Catholic will have the football to start the second half. If they can somehow get some points on the board to end the first, you have the opportunity to go 2 for 1. But they'll have to do it with just under 58 seconds remaining and no timeouts. Not really a recipe for success for a team that likes to run the football as much as the Celtics do, but you never know. On the 4th down call, obviously with it being a 4th and 9, I like the decision to throw the football. I think the Celtics would have a lot more offensive success if they maybe tried to mix it up a little bit and keep the defense honest, because right now, if you count them up on your screen, there are 9 players in the box. Doty will throw. It'll be an out route quickly caught by Mason Jacoby. He's out past the 30 down to the 29-yard line, and that will stop the clock at 53 seconds. Even doing something like that, it helps you spread the defense out and give you some more running lanes in the middle of the field for your backs and trying to get something going. I know it's at the end of the half, so you're kind of forced to throw the football, but I think the Celtics would be well served trying to put the ball in the air a little bit more. I know it puts you behind the sticks a little bit if you don't get anything, but it keeps the defense honest, which is, I think, very important. Same play, it's an out route. Genovese catches it, and he will go out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Clock will stop at 47 seconds. So the Celtics have run 2 plays in 10 seconds and have picked up about 8 yards. They're, well, actually 6 yards. They're about 4 yards shy. And it's going to be 4th down for Trinity Catholic, and they'll have the offense out there on the field. Again, they got their kicker Tanner Riggs back this week. He's 3 for 4 on field goals this season for 42 yards, or long of 42 yards. Doty takes a snap, quickly fires. There's a nice throw. Flag is thrown. It looks like Godby got a head start. It was number 25, Monteris Mo Telfair, who got a jump from his outside linebacker position. That'll be a 5-yard penalty, and it'll be good enough for a Celtic first down. So Godby doing Trinity Catholic a few favors here on this drive, extending the Celtics drive with a few penalties. You had the pass interference, and now on 4th down, an offsides call. Certainly at this point, the ball pushed down to the 21-yard line. You're in field goal range for your kicker, Tanner Riggs. But the Celtics are thinking touchdown. Doty takes a snap. Under heavy pressure, rolling out to his right, and he gets rid of the ball late. A flag is thrown. It may be intentional grounding. Sturdivant looks upset with a few of his receivers or actually his one receiver on the play. Number 8, Michael Schofield, doesn't think he ran the right route. Doty, desperately trying not to take the sack, somehow gets rid of the ball, but they're going to call intentional grounding against the junior quarterback. So that's a tough break for Trinity Catholic. That'll knock them back out of field goal range and also lose a down, so it'll be 2nd down. What's worse is that's a spot foul, so it's going to be 10 yards back from the 35, actually 5 yards back, from the 35. So that puts the ball on the 40 with 37 seconds left here in the second quarter. Doty will be back under center. Takes a snap, quick drop. He'll fire it up down the sideline. It is an easy interception for Godby as the safety moves over and makes the grab. It's number 26, I believe, who moves over and makes the grab. Yes, Jamal Jackson moves over and is able to record the interception. That's his first interception of the season. And that'll give Godby the football at their own 10-yard line. That time, Doty hasn't had a whole lot of time when he's tried to throw the football tonight, so he tried to give his guy, Michael Schofield, the opportunity to go over and get it. But just threw it a little bit too long and floated it a little bit too much, and Jackson able to move over and make the interception with nobody around him. So 30 seconds on the clock before halftime. No timeouts for Godby. Well, let's see just how aggressive they are. They have 2 receivers to the right and 2 receivers to the left of Bradwell. Looks like he will throw. Fires a quick out. It's a little low. The catch is not made by number 8, Titus Fain. Went down to his seat to try to make the grab, but it still hit the ground according to the linesman. 24 seconds on the clock. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Again, at halftime, we'll have a scoring summary with replays of our scoring plays. And we'll take a short break before second half action begins. A long throw from Bradwell. He finds Kerrigan around the 20-yard line. Unable to get out of bounds, but that's close to the first down marker. They're going to say he's just shy, about half a yard. The clock is running. 16 seconds, 15. Ball gets away from the referees. They're having a tough time trying to get it spotted. Inside of 10 seconds now as the Cougar offense trying to get a play run, but unable to do so right now. 3, 2, 1. And our linesman actually blew his whistle, saying that the clock had run out. Head coach Todd Lanter wants an explanation because on that play, there was, at the end of that play to Kerrigan, there was about 24 seconds on the clock or so. And Godby's unable to get a play off because the referees couldn't get the ball spotted in time. Certainly something you don't see every day. But the referees are going to huddle up and discuss it. Lanter wants an explanation, as I mentioned. And we're waiting for the signal that it is, in fact, at halftime, and it will be as our referees are heading off the field. And we'll have a performance from the Godby Band while we take our break. But before we do that, let's go into our Insight Credit Union scoring summary. It all started back in the first quarter at the 1:15 mark as Godby was able to push it in, I should say. A 15-yard touchdown pass from Bradwell to Titus Fain made the score 7-0 after the point-after attempt from Logan Roberts. Again, on that play, just Fain getting away from the defensive back and wide open for a touchdown pass. Into the second quarter at 9:44 and rolling. Bradwell takes it himself from 2 yards out after a long offensive drive. And after the extra point makes it 14-0. Bradwell has been fantastic early on in this game, and he was not done after that with 2:56 on the clock in the second quarter. Finds a wide open Michael Hudson, who then beats Robert Rivers, who tried to get an angle. But that was a 38-yard touchdown connection between Bradwell and Hudson. Made the score 21-0 after the extra point, and that's where we stand at halftime. We will step aside. There's 16 minutes on the clock. We'll keep the microphone and camera going as the Godby Band has a performance coming for you. Once again, our halftime score, Tallahassee Godby 21 and Trinity Catholic 0. We'll be back after this 16-minute halftime break to continue second half action between the Cougars and Celtics.
Tonight's show will be strictly for the seniors. This is our contest evaluation performance. We would love your support tomorrow here at Trinity Stadium. Drum major, is your band ready? Godby High School, you may take the field for competition. Mr. Michael Jackson. Song selections are Lee White, Rock Worship, and Love Never Felt So Good. We are the only band here. So up, so out, anytime, anywhere. We are Godby. tight. We make for you, you breast cancer survivor rhythm. Thank you to all survivors. At this time, the Cougar Band would like all cancer survivors to please stand. As the formation on the field is for you. On behalf of Godby High School, we thank you, all survivors. Please give another round of applause. Once again, tonight's show that you see will be the show that will perform tomorrow at the Music Performance Festival right here at Chicago. The event runs from 5 to 8 and Godby High School performing at 6:30 prime time. We ask for your support. All Godby administrators who are attending at no charge. This has been another Godby High School production.
Thank you. And we're just about ready to begin the second half of play here at Gene Cox Stadium, Hurley Rudd Field, as the clock is winding down at the half. Both teams are out. They're huddled up. We're about ready to continue some football. Godby leads at 21-0 over Trinity Catholic. The Celtics will get the football first, as Godby at the beginning of the game won the toss and elected to receive. Just a few keys from that first half to remember. With Trinity Catholic, they wanted to run the football. Coach Sturdivant said they had 4 downs to get 10 yards. Worked a few times, didn't work a few times. And I think you can kind of guesstimate that yourself based on the 21-0 halftime score. As for the defensive side of the football for Trinity Catholic, you got to find some way to contain Darius Bradfield. All 3 touchdowns he has been a part of. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing. He's playing lights-out football recently anyway, as he had a really nice game in their last one against a very good Trinity Christian Academy team out of Jacksonville. Again, I mentioned in that game he accounted for over 300 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns, all of them passing. But he was sacked 7 times in that one. Trinity Catholic hasn't recorded a sack yet tonight, but Bradwell has made them pay with both his legs and his arm. As for Godby, when I talked to Coach Lanner, he said the keys to the football game: do not turn the football over and force turnovers. They haven't forced any turnovers. Trinity Catholic forced the 1 on a turnover on downs. But other than that, it's been pretty even as far as that goes. But on the scoreboard, it says differently. It's 21-0 in favor of the Cougars. Back to receive for Trinity Catholic to get things started is number 8, Michael Schofield. Also, number 24, Mason Jacoby is back, and Robert Rim as well. So usually Robert Rivers and Cameron Thompson are back to return kickoffs, but neither of those guys back there now. So Logan Roberts tees it up, and we're about ready to get this second half started. Once again, Dwayne Cook with you here at TrinityCatholicHS.org. Happy to have you along here on this Friday night in Tallahassee. Toe meets leather. Second half is underway. It's an end-over-end kick that will be fielded by Schofield around the 6-yard line. Looking for a lane. He has one out to about the 24-yard line. A big hit laid by a couple of blue jerseys. Number 33 for Godby was there originally. That's DeMarcus Jackson, and cleaning it up was number 28, Tyquan Watson. Playing a little special teams. He's a starting running back for Godby. So here comes Chris Doty to the huddle. In that first half, he made a couple of passes near the end of the half to try and put some points on the board on a bit of a 1-minute drive. Couldn't do it, but did make some completions, as I mentioned. Had a couple of guys open on some deep balls, overthrew it a couple times, was bailed out on a pass interference the second time. Corey King gets the first snap at running back. He takes it over to the right side and is swallowed up for no gain. It will be right around that 24-yard line is where they'll spot it. Maybe back a half a yard, so the 23.5-yard line. He'll lose half a yard. It'll bring up 2nd and long. Thanks for sticking with us during halftime. We had the halftime performance from the Godby Band. They'll be partaking in a competition, from what I understand, tomorrow. Doty under center in the I formation. King dotting the I. Handoff goes to King. He'll run to the outside, get out past the 25 down to the 27-yard line. That's it. Gain of about 4, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8. Or actually, excuse me, it'll be 3rd and 7 as Trinity Catholic needs to get to their own 34-yard line in order to get a first down. Again, we talked a little bit about it at the end of the half. In my opinion, and this is probably why I'm up here talking to you guys and not down on the field calling plays, but if you're the Celtics, you really need to try, again, just in my opinion, to throw the football more on 1st and 2nd downs and keep Godby at bay. This time the handoff goes to Robert Rivers. He picks his way close to that first down marker. They're going to spot him at the 34. We'll wait and see if he got just enough for the first down. A heck of a run by Robert Rivers. The referees will call time, and they will signal first down. So a nice 7-yard run for Robert Rivers to get just enough for a Celtic first down and a new set of downs. Again, I'd like to give a big shout out to Brian Morgan, our producer for this ball game. He's also providing the Insight Credit Union replays when we have those. Doty takes the snap, hands it off, and Rivers is met in the backfield. Number 25 for the Cougars, Monteris Mo Telfair, was there to make the stop in the backfield. That'll be a loss of about 3, and it'll bring up 2nd and 13.
Loss of about 3 on the play. 3rd down and 13.
But going back to my point about throwing the football a little bit more on 1st and 2nd down, if you count them up on your monitor, wherever you're watching, there are 9 guys in the box for Godby. It's hard to run against a 9-man front. Rivers runs it out to the right side, does have a little bit of room. He gets out near that original line of scrimmage, maybe just half a yard shy. It'll be 3rd and 10.5 or 11. One of the inside linebackers, Marjorie Brown, for the Cougars, makes the stop on the play. And now the Celtics are in what they don't want to be, 3rd and long. Actually, they're going to say it's 4th down on the field, but if I'm remembering correctly, it should be 3rd down. The offense is out on the field, but again, Rivers picked up that 1st down. He then had the run that was dropped in the backfield. Then he had his other run. It's Robert Rim running the Wildcat. He's over to the right side. Gets pushed out of bounds right around the 38. Looks like it's where they'll spot it. But Godby seems to think that was 4th down. The announcer announced 4th down. In fact, the yard marker says 4th down. But if I'm correct, it should be 3rd down. And they're going to say it's Godby football. We'd have to go back and look, but it seemed like that was only 3 downs. Again, you had the 1st down from Robert Rivers. And then now Coach Sturdivant is going to have a conversation with the linesman. Again, it seemed like after Rivers picked up that 1st down, the first play after that he was met in the backfield and stopped for a loss. Then you had the run out to the original line of scrimmage, which should have brought up 3rd down. And then you had the Wildcat play with Robert Rim to the right side. And they will change it. The referees, no, they're going to keep it the way it was. They're going to say it's 1st down Godby. We may have to go back and take a look at that. Again, based on what, if I'm remembering correctly, and I just spelled them all out for you, it should be 4th down now for Trinity Catholic, not 1st down Godby. Sturdivant is absolutely livid on the sideline. The hat is off, and if the hat's off of Sturdivant, that means he is very upset. He always has that hat on. And the defense is going to come out for the Celtics. Brian, I don't know. That one's that's interesting. Either way, it's not going to change. They've already conferenced about it. Godby will have the football at the Celtic 38-yard line. Not really sure I agree with it, but they're going to have the football either way. Bradwell in the pistol, takes a snap, hands it off to Watson, who will go off to the left side, breaks through a tackle, down inside the 25, dragging white jerseys down to the 20. And the Cougars will be in the red zone of the Celtics as they'll spot Watson at the 19-yard line. I don't really want to dwell on the situation, but the officiating crew tonight has had some very questionable calls, to say the least, on both sides of the ball. No question about it. Watson gets the handoff. He's down inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. A gain of about 6 on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 4. Now you go back and think about it. You had the late flag on the pass interference by Godby that extended the drive of the Celtics. Then at the end of the half, 20 seconds runs off the clock because they're not able to spot the football in time for Godby to run another play. And then, of course, you just have the 3-down series right there. Handoff goes to Watson. He's picking up about 4 to 5 yard chunks every time he carries the ball at this point. He's inside the 10, which is going to be good for a 1st down. And it'll be 1st and goal for the Cougars. So the Cougars on the doorstep once again, looking to add to their 21-0 lead. 7:45 on the clock here in the 3rd quarter. Bradwell will be in the shotgun with Watson And Thompson next to him. Fakes the handoff to Thompson, gives it to Watson, who breaks a tackle, lowers his shoulder, goes down inside the 5 to the 2-yard line is where they'll spot it. And it'll bring up 2nd and goal. Right now, Watson pulling off chunk yards each time he carries the ball. Jesse Howenitz makes a stop for the Celtics on that one. 2nd and goal. Bradwell hands it off to Watson once again. This time he's met in the backfield. The ball comes out. It's picked up by the Celtics. Now Howenitz has it. He's out past the 20 to the 22-yard line, and it will be a fumble. Watson lost it. Only his 2nd fumble of the season, and the Celtics were there to pick it up. Jesse Howenitz from his linebacker position, able to get the football, tried to take it back, dropped right around the 23-yard line, and that's where the Celtics will have the football. And a water break is called. 7:06 here in the 3rd quarter. Godby still leads it 21-0, but they were inside the 5-yard line before Tyquan Watson lost the football, and Jesse Howenitz able to pick it up and give the Celtics the football at their own, or past their own 20-yard line. So we'll see if the Celtics can get anything going on the offensive side of the football. They've had a few chunk runs here and there, and they've also had some negative runs as well. Plus penalty yardage has affected both teams on the offensive side of the football. But down 21-0 here about midway through the 3rd quarter. Got to try and get some points on the board. You're down 3 possessions. We don't do a post-game interview with Coach Sturdivant, but I'd be really interested to know what he thinks about that last offensive series. It'll be a Wildcat look, it looks like, from the Celtics. Robert Rivers will be the Wildcat quarterback. 2 lead blockers in front of him, Zach Leeds and Juwan Bracey. Actually, Righty Gilbert, excuse me. Rivers has a lot of room. He's out past the 30, down past the 40, pushed out around the 46-yard line. Actually, they'll spot him at the 47. That Wildcat play has worked at times. They've run it to the outside, and they've picked up. The Celtics have some good yardage every once in a while, but it always seems like after they pick up that big run, the Cougars are able to sniff it out and stop them for a couple of loss of yards out of that formation. We'll see if they stick with it here. Rivers coming off the field slowly, but under his own power. It'll be the Wildcat look once again. It'll be Corey King running it this time. The 2 lead backs are still the same. They'll run it right this time. Good block by Uriah Gilbert. Zach Lee's leading the way. King puts it on the ground, and the Cougars are going to recover it. Inside their own 45 at the 44-yard line. That time Corey King just had the ball poked out, and it will be Cougar football. So after the Celtics get past the 50-yard line, Corey King, the freshman, coughs it up, and the Cougars are there to recover it. I believe the one who pounced on it for Godby was the safety, number 26, Jamal Jackson. King was slow to get up on the play, but he now walks off under his own power. And an opportunity for the Celtics to try to put some points on the board is now gone, as Godby will send the offense back out on the field. So Bradwell leads his guys out there on the field. It's Watson in the backfield with him. Watson picked up most of the yards on their last offensive drive before fumbling it inside the 5-yard line. They'll go right back to him. It's a pitch play out to the left side. He's trying to find the corner. Breaks through one tackle, but then is dragged down near that original line of scrimmage. There is a flag on the play. We'll wait and see what the call is. It's in the general vicinity of holding. And it will be holding against Godby. That'll knock him back 10 yards from the spot and a replay first down if Trinity Catholic decides to accept the penalty. And they will. So the Cougars will knock back from the 45 all the way down to the 35-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 20. It'll still be the spread look from the Cougar offense. 3 receivers to the right of Bradwell, 1 to the left. Watson in the backfield.
Holding penalty against the Cougars. It's 1st and 10 now.
Bradwell looking for the quick wide receiver screen. Kerrigan has it, makes a move, gets out in the open field. If he's even, he's leaving. Rim trying to get there, but there goes Michael Kerrigan. The Troy commitment takes it all the way in for a Godby score.
Mike Harrigan on the reception.
If my math is correct, that's going to be a 65-yard touchdown connection between Darius Bradwell and Michael Kerrigan. Bradwell comes off the field with a little bit of a limp. He's being checked out by the training staff now on the sideline. Looks like he's going to try and walk it off. That would be certainly a big blow to Godby. Looks like he's going to walk it off and be fine. Logan Roberts in now to attempt the point after. The snaps have been a bit of a adventure, to say the least, tonight for Godby. Fain's made a couple of nice grabs. That one's much better. Fain gets it down, kick up from Roberts, and it's right through. It makes the score 28-0 in favor of Godby with 6:25 on the clock here in the third quarter.
6:25.
It was a bit of a slow developing wide receiver screen pass. If we can, Brian, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Insight Credit Union replay. They faked the handoff, and right there, Kerrigan wide open. Great blocking on the outside. Gets past one guy, and at that point, he has speed to burn. You see Robert Rim try to make a play on it, but Kerrigan able to waltz into the end zone untouched for a 65-yard touchdown to give Godby the 28-0 lead. That's the fourth touchdown that Darius Bradwell has accounted for tonight. 3 of them passing, 1 with his legs. And all 3 passing touchdowns have gone to 3 different receivers. They certainly like to spread the football around, no question about it. So now Roberts, after knocking through the extra point to increase the lead to 28-0, will be on to kick it away. Back to receive are Michael Schofield, Robert Rim, and Mason Jacoby. Roberts gets a good leg into that one. That one will go into the end zone. Schofield will field it, and it'll be a touchback. So the Celtics will start with the football at their own 20-yard line. 6:25 on the clock here in the third quarter. Remember, on their last offensive series, they had a nice run by Robert Rivers. They got them out close to the 50-yard line. And then Corey King, the freshman running back, same Wildcat formation, took it past the 50-yard line, but on his way down to the ground, he lost the football. And Jamal Jackson, the safety, was there to recover it for Godby. So down by 4 scores. Let's see what the Celtics can do on offense. They're going to stick with the Wildcat look, and it's still Corey King out there running the show. He will go over to the left side, go forward down to about the 23-yard line is where they'll spot it. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Big plays by Godby have really dominated the game tonight. You have what we just saw on the 65-yard touchdown connection on a simple wide receiver screen play from Bradwell to Kerrigan. You also had the 38-yard connection on a curl route. Michael Hudson was wide open on the play and just took it the rest of the way. And we've also seen Bradwell break off a couple of nice long runs. Also, Tyquan Watson has done the same. Now Robert Rim in to run the Wildcat, and he is met in the backfield and dropped way back. They're going to give him forward progress at the 15-yard line, but the blue jerseys drove him all the way back to the 5-yard line. Still going to be a loss on the play of about 8 yards, and that'll bring up 3rd and long. Sturdivant certainly not happy. I'm not sure if he's not happy with Rim or with the officials. That time Rim just ended up running into the outside linebacker or one of the outside linebackers, I should say, Monteris Mo Telfair, who's had his name called quite a bit tonight. So on 3rd and 14, they'll bring Doty back in at quarterback. They start in the shotgun. Doty will move under center to the I formation. Drops back to pass. Rolls out right, looking for his tight end, Noah Carmen. Flag thrown by both the linesman and the back judge. They're going to say that Jamal Jackson, the safety who was on in coverage, got there a little bit early and wrapped up from behind on Carmen.
Noah Carmen was the hit receiver.
At least I assume that's what the call will be. We'll wait and see from our head referee, John Griffin. And it will be pass interference against Godby. So that should be good enough for a first down for the Celtics. That's the second time tonight that a pass interference call by Godby has resulted in a first down for Trinity Catholic. The other one came near the end of the first half. 4:48 on the clock here in the third quarter as Godby leads it 28-0. If Trinity Catholic cannot get on the board here on this drive, it gives Godby the opportunity to score another touchdown and add the extra point and make it a 35-point deficit, which would give us a running clock. Doty remains in the shotgun, hands it off to King, who gets to the outside, past the 35, 40, 45, 50. Actually, that's not King, that's number 28, Preston Schofield, who gets the carry. And he's out past the 50-yard line down to the 43-yard line. I saw the 2 and thought it was 22 King. It was not. Preston Schofield gets his first carry of the ball game, and right on cue. We mentioned Schofield last week against Father Lopez. Ran the ball 3 times for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carries the ball for the first time tonight. Picks up a chunk yardage, or picks up a chunk gain. So he's doing something right running the football. He'll stay in there to the left side of Doty this time. Once again, the handoff will go to him. Trying to make a move. Breaks through one tackle, past the 40. Now trying to keep going. Takes a big lick from a few blue jerseys. There on the stop. The one who made the big hit for Godby was number 31, Malik Logan. Also there, Jamal Jackson. And now it looks like Schofield is down and slow to get up. Now he gets up under his own power. Might have just gotten the wind knocked out of him, although he does have a little bit of a limp heading to the sideline. Hopefully for Celtics fans, he'll be okay to return. His run was good for a gain of about 5 yards. So that'll bring up 2nd and 5 down inside the Godby 40-yard line. 4:20 and rolling here in the third quarter. Doty remains in at quarterback. Corey King now in to spell Schofield. Doty takes a snap, looking for the quick hitter, and Jamal Jackson had it in his hands, and he was looking ahead towards the end zone because he had green grass, but it will drop harmlessly to the turf. A dangerous throw by Doty. He was looking for Noah Carmen, the tight end, but he was covered very well. Godby did not bite on the play-action pass. And again, Jackson just dropped what could have possibly been a pick 6 for the Florida A&M commitment. That would have been the second interception of the night for Jackson if he was able to bring it down. And now Trinity Catholic will use their first time out of the half. 4:03 on the clock here in the third quarter. Godby leads it 28-0, but the Celtics are inside the Godby 40-yard line. After the timeout, there'll be a 3rd and 5 coming up for Trinity Catholic. We want to thank you again for being with us here on TrinityCatholicHS.org on your Friday night. As the Celtics are on the road here in Tallahassee, taking on Tallahassee Godby, a team that has been very, very good over the past several years. In fact, last year they finished with a record of 12-3, made it all the way to the state championship game before losing to a really good American Heritage football team, 38-0. They lost 36 seniors off of that team. They're now 2-4 this year, 0-1 in the district, so they're in danger of missing out on the playoffs, but they still have something to say about it. This year they have 21 seniors on the team, and it's senior night here at Gene Cox Stadium. Handoff goes to Corey King, who's wrapped up in the backfield. He'll be dropped around the 41-yard line with forward progress. It's a loss of about 1.5 yards. That'll bring up third and long. Dwayne Cook on the call for you between the Celtics and Cougars. Brian Morgan producing the broadcast. Also want to give a shout out to Insight Credit Union with our replays whenever we have those on scoring plays. Coming up at the conclusion of our ball game, we'll do a complete scoring summary from the first and second halves with instant replay. And it's going to be 4th down for Trinity Catholic. Doty in at quarterback in the shotgun. Takes a snap. Has a little bit of time being pressured from his right. Throws it outside. It was a diving effort from Jesse Howenitz, but unable to get there as Doty led him a little bit too far to his right. And now Godby will send their offense out on the field. So Godby will have the football at their own 41-yard line.
Just shy of the 41-yard line.
You know, that's interesting. Now after what happened earlier in the half, I've started to try to pay attention a little bit more to the down markers. For those of you that weren't with us at the start of the half, it seemed like Trinity Catholic, after picking up a first down, only got 3 downs before it was called a turnover on downs. They had a 4th down on the field. They stuck with that call. But when we went back and thought about it, it didn't seem like they got the true 4 downs. That time a handoff to Thompson. He's wrapped up in the backfield by a few white jerseys. That'll be a loss of 2. It'll bring up 2nd and 12. And I think that time, and I think Coach Sturdivant was arguing it again, I thought out of the timeout it would be 2nd down, not 3rd. But then we end up with I don't know. There are too many question marks at this point. Bradwell in the shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. The handoff goes to Shamondre Johnson. Breaks through the line, makes one guy miss. He's out near the 50, past the 50, lowers his shoulder, gets down to the 42-yard line. A nice run. Actually, they'll spot him at the 41-yard line. A nice run by the backup running back for Godby as he spells starting running back Tyquan Watson, the junior who's listed at 5'7", 167 pounds, showed he plays a little bit bigger than that. Same goes for Corey King for Trinity Catholic as well. He likes to lower his shoulder and pick up some tough yards as well. Once again, if Godby is able to score a touchdown and add the extra point on this drive, that would be a 35-point deficit, which would lead us to a running clock until that deficit is cut below that 35 number. Bradwell takes a snap, keeps it on the fake handoff to Thompson, breaks through one tackle, he's out past the 30, there he goes. Darius Bradwell will account for his 5th touchdown of the night, as that time he takes it 41 yards for a Godby touchdown. We'll take a look at the Insight Credit Union replay in just a moment as Logan Roberts heads out onto the field for the point after attempt. But on this one, it was a very well-designed play. And we'll show it to you after the extra point attempt, but we'll get a little bit more into the X's and O's of the play right after Logan Roberts attempts the extra point. Again, this would make a 35-point deficit, which would lead to a running clock. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kick is up, and it is right through as Logan Roberts knocks in his 5th extra point of the night. So that makes the score 35-0 with 2:16 on the clock here in the third quarter. Again, in case you stepped away for a moment, a 41-yard touchdown run by Darius Bradwell, the 5th touchdown he has accounted for this evening. And Godby is all over Trinity Catholic, 35-0. Let's take a look at the Insight Credit Union replay. Again, a very well-designed play. They run the read option look, and Bradwell hangs on to it, finds a crease, breaks through one tackle, and once he has green grass, you're not going to catch him as the Division I prospect leaves the white jerseys in the dust on his way to a 41-yard touchdown run. We mentioned that Bradwell had been committed to Kent State, according to some of the fans here at Gene Cox Stadium. We were talking to them before the game. He decommitted from the Flashes yesterday, and now a lot of the fans believe that he will end up at Georgia Southern. And based on what I've seen tonight, he would be a really nice fit for the Eagles offense. Of course, they like to run the triple option / veer offense, and with his dual threat capabilities, certainly could end up being a very good player. A sideways kick that's caught by Rim at the 5-yard line. He's trying to get out to the left side. He has a little bit of room, brought it down around the 31-yard line. The tackle is made by Jamal Jackson. And that's where the Celtics will start their next offensive series. The clock rolling now, obviously, with a 35-point deficit. We're down inside a minute and a half left in the third quarter.
The ball placed now down at the 31-yard line.
The Celtics obviously coming into this football game without their starting quarterback, Ryan Miller, who, again, if you didn't hear earlier in the broadcast, is out for the season with what Coach Sturdivant told me is a grade 5 shoulder separation. So a tough break for the Celtics. Chris Doty has filled in admirably tonight. It's just tough whenever they load the box on you. It's hard to get a running game going. Handoff goes to Preston Schofield, who will go over to the right side, pick up about a yard on the play out to the 32-yard line. Bring up 2nd and 9. Inside of a minute now in the third quarter, down to 45 seconds and rolling. As the Celtics will look to try and get on the scoreboard and stop this clock at some point in the fourth quarter. Looks like there will be one final play run here in the third. Doty will line up in the shotgun. Schofield remains in the backfield next to him to his right. Handoff goes to Schofield. A good block by Chase Andrews as Schofield is brought down past the 35 at the 36-yard line. Gain of about 3. It'll bring up third and about 5, it looks like. And it looks like that's where the Celtics will begin the fourth quarter as the clock is at 2-1 and the horn sounds to end the third quarter. So we head to the final quarter of this ball game. Godby leads it 35-0 over the Celtics. We thank you for being with us here at TrinityCatholicHS.org in a Friday night road edition of Trinity Catholic football. As the Celtics have stepped out of district once again. We mentioned the difficulty of their out-of-district schedule earlier in the broadcast, but certainly one of the harder games, even though Godby's record is 2-4 on the year. You know, coming up to Tallahassee, this Godby team has playmakers, and they have shown up tonight as they hold the 35-0 lead. Of course, it all starts, like we talked about in pregame, Darius Bradwell, the star senior quarterback for the Cougars. He's accounted for all 5 touchdowns tonight for Godby. Just to talk a moment about upcoming schedules for both teams. We've talked about Trinity Catholic will have their final regular season game next week. It's a district game at Trinity Prep in Winter Park. Trinity Prep, of course, 6-1 on the year, 2-0 in the division, or excuse me, the district. So both of these teams will be looking to decide who will finish first in Class 3A District 3. We'll get into the Godby schedule in just a moment. Doty's under center with a 3rd and 5 coming up. Now a flag is thrown.
There's a flag on the play.
I didn't see any movement. Of course, I wasn't 100% paying attention, but it looks like it's going to be encroachment against Godby.
Infraction by Godby.
So that'll be 5 yards. That'll get them close to the first down, and it will be a first down for the Celtics. From just off the top of my head, if I can recall, that's the 3rd first down the Celtics have gotten because of a penalty on Godby. Certainly they'll take it.
So Trinity has the ball now at the 41-yard line.
Not exactly ideal that you kind of want to pick up first downs on your own accord, but first down is a first down. You'll take it any way you get it. Doty in the shotgun, Rivers to his right. Zach leads the H-back. Howlanitz goes in motion. Handoff goes to Rivers. He's looking to pick his way around the left side. He'll get a gain of about 2 yards and bring up 2nd and 8. As for Godby, they have a huge district game coming up next Friday night at Rickards. Always a big game between Godby and Rickards. And then, of course, they end the season the next Friday night after that against Tallahassee Lincoln. For those of you Gator fans out there living in Ocala or wherever you may be listening from, Lincoln is actually coached by former Gator Jaquez Green, better known as Quezzy Green. Handoff goes to Corey King. He tries to find his Preston Schofield, my apologies. It'll be a loss of a yard on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 9. 10:38 and rolling here in the fourth quarter with Godby leading it 35-0. We've already talked about Trinity Catholic will be in the playoffs this season. There's no denying that. There's no possible way they can't be, as they're 2-0 with Trinity Prep at 2-0. They'll play each other next Friday night. And then, of course, Father Lopez and the First Academy out of Orlando are 0-2. Top 2 teams in Class 3A District 3 go to the playoffs, so it will be the Celtics and Trinity Prep out of Winter Park going to the playoffs. It's funny to say whenever looks like you're heading to a 2-7 record if this score holds the way it is. Robert Rivers takes the carry out to about the 43-yard line is where they'll spot it, a gain of about a yard. That'll bring up 4th and long. So the Celtics are going to go for it. Again, at this point, down 35 points. Not really much you can lose by going for it. Sure, you give Godby the ball with favorable field position, but you got to try to put some points on the board at this point in the game. Michael Schofield will be the lone receiver to the top side of the formation. Doty in the shotgun. Looking for the quick hitter out route, and it is broken up. A really nice play by Godby's number 42, Lamont Bird, a 6'1", 169 defensive back who did a nice job breaking on that football. As it looks, that's pretty much been the routes that Trinity Catholic has run tonight when they've tried to put the ball in the air. Out routes, we saw a couple of go routes as well that Doty overthrew a little bit a couple times, but that time Bird was waiting for it and was able to jump it and knock it harmlessly to the turf. So that'll be a turnover on downs. Godby will have the football at the Celtic 43-yard line. And out comes Bradwell looking to add more. 8:40 and rolling here in the fourth quarter. Two receivers to the left in the formation, two to the right. They send Watson in motion. The handoff will go to Watson, trying to find his way around the right side. He gets upfield, picks up a gain of about 2 yards. That'll give the Cougars a 2nd and 8 close to the 40-yard line. I'm not exactly sure who will be on the call with you next week against Trinity Prep, for those Trinity Catholic fans out there. I would assume it'll either be myself or it will be Mike Rideout. But again, I'm not 100% sure. You'll just have to wait and find out next Friday night. And it looks like there was some confusion on the offensive side of the football for Godby as Darius Bradwell has to call timeout. They had run Tyquan Watson off the field, and he came running back on late. And Bradwell just decided to go ahead and take the first time out of the half for Godby. Clock is stopped at 7:57 here in the fourth quarter, as this one is just about wrapped up between Godby and Trinity Catholic. If the score holds where it is, it'll give Godby a 3-4 record on the year heading into their final two games on the road. And it will send Trinity Catholic to a 2-7 record, although they are 2-0 in the district. And as I mentioned, they will be going to the playoffs. As far as who they'll play, I believe that will be decided based on the outcome in that game next Friday night at Trinity Prep.
And tell them how much you appreciate them. The greatest way to reward them is by buying something good to eat and something cold to drink. So go get yourself some.
Godby's timeout is over. They're back out on the field. Bradwell in the shotgun, three receivers. Handoff goes to Thompson, who's in for Watson. Breaks one tackle, breaks another. He's still going. A jump cut gets him down inside the 25-yard line. As right now you can tell that Trinity Catholic defense is just a little bit worn out. They've been on the field quite a bit tonight, and it's been tough trying to stop this two-dimensional offense for Godby. Bradwell's been able to run the ball very well. Watson and Thompson have done a nice job out of the running back position, and, of course, they've also been able to throw the football as well. Bradwell had a bad snap, runs out to the left side, a great block downfield, and he's going to walk into the end zone. We're going to get that replay queued up for you, but a heck of a block on the play by number 8, Titus Fain, the senior wide receiver. And now a flag is thrown. Looks like it's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct against Godby. Bit of a celebration there in the left corner of the end zone. We'll show you the replay after the point after attempt from Logan Roberts. And I'll point out to you the great block by Titus Fain. It was fantastic. I believe he took out, my eyes saw it clearly live, he took out two Celtics on the play and gave Bradwell an easy stroll into the end zone. The clock is at 6:45 and rolling here in the fourth quarter, as that one, I believe, will be unofficially I want to say a 32-yarder. I didn't quite catch the yard marker. They don't have the yards to go on the scoreboard here at Gene Cox Stadium. We'll take a look at it when we look at the replay. Referee calls timeout as they're having a discussion about the penalty that occurred in the back corner of the end zone. Well, while we have this break in time, Brian, let's go ahead and show everybody the Insight Credit Union replay. Again, on this touchdown run by Bradwell. Looks like it's actually about a 34-yard touchdown run is what it will go down as. But, again, Bradwell makes a little bit of something out of nothing. He runs to the left side, and watch down to the bottom side of your screen. Fain takes out one player and trips up another, and that gives Bradwell the wide-open lane into the end zone. A heck of a job by the senior on senior night, and, of course, you can't forget the other senior, Darius Bradwell, who has accounted for all 6 touchdowns tonight for Godby. And now with 6:15 on the clock, stopped because the referees are conferencing about this penalty. It's all but wrapped up. They're going to wave off the flag. Again, I'm not sure exactly what the call was. We never got a signal, and I was looking down at my notes here. whenever it occurred in the back corner of the end zone. So either way, everything's going to stay the way it is. It's a touchdown for Godby. It would have been a touchdown either way as the flag came out at the end of the play. But Logan Roberts will be on to attempt the point after attempt. Snap is good. Fain gets it down. Kick is up from Roberts, and it is right through to make the score 42-0 in favor of the Cougars. The clock is back to rolling. It's under 6 minutes here in the fourth quarter. As the Celtics will get the football back, and they'll try to avoid the shutout here against Godby. At this point, that's about the best case scenario. Now a timeout is called by the referee, John Griffin, as that is our fourth quarter water break. Clock is stopped at 5:29. Actually, they're going to, now they'll stop it at 5:26. And then we are just about to wrap things up here at Godby High School. Once again, or actually not at Godby High School, we're at Gene Cox Stadium here in Tallahassee. That was a fun adventure that Brian Morgan and I had. When we thought the game was going to be at the high school. Turns out it's going to be at Gene Cox Stadium. No matter, it's only about a 20-minute drive from the high school, so no big deal. I never actually made it there, but Brian was there and freaking out a little bit. He said the numbers weren't even painted on the field, so kind of gave him a bit of a hint that game wasn't going to be there at Godby High School. But a nice stadium here at Gene Cox Stadium. Hurley Rudd Field is the name of the actual field. Huge home side stands. We're very high up, as you can tell from our camera angle. We're on the top row of the stands. You can see the visitor stands on the far side too. Pretty nice visitor stands as well. Water break is over. Again, the clock is at 5:26, and it will continue to roll once Logan Roberts' toe meets the leather. And then this game will wrap up from there. Again, at the conclusion of our ball game, we'll have our scoring summary. During that scoring summary, we will go back and take a look at all those scoring plays thanks to Insight Credit Union's replay. Same three guys are back for Trinity Catholic that have been since the beginning of the second half. It's Jacoby, Rem, and Schofield. Michael Schofield, to be exact. Preston has had a couple of carries from the backfield tonight. He's on the front line of kickoff coverage. Robert sends this one end over end. It'll be caught by Schofield around the 4-yard line. Trying to find a lane, but he is dropped around the 21-yard line. A nice tackle in space. I believe it was number 20 for Godby, Tyreek James, starting corner, who's going to Florida A&M. So that's where Trinity Catholic will start their next offensive series, and they have 5 minutes to try and get some points on the board. I believe they have 2 timeouts as well. We'll see if they decide to use it or if they're just ready to head on back to Ocala. Again, next week, of course, the district matchup against Trinity Prep. Godby will have the district matchup of their own at Rickards. Big rivalry game between Rickards and Godby. And then, of course, they wrap up the season the Friday after that on November 6th against Tallahassee Lincoln. Doty remains out there. He'll be under center. Handoff goes to Corey King, who will move to the left side. Not much there as he's dropped right around that line of scrimmage. Multiple blue jerseys combined on the stop. One of the ones there was the nose guard, number 69, Richard Summers. Down inside, 4 minutes and 15 seconds now in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 9. The celebration is on here in Tallahassee as the band has been struck up. Fans are dancing in the grandstands, and the sideline, pretty much a jovial atmosphere. Couldn't be more far from it on the far sideline. Doty under center. Hands it off to King. He'll go to the left side. Has a crease up the middle. Makes one guy miss. There goes Corey King. Can he beat the defender? A diving effort, and he's able to bring him down. He does hit the ground. The ball pops out, but King was on the ground. It will be called that by the back judge, John Parker. He'll say that King's knee hit before the ball popped out. But a big run by Corey King gets them all the way down to the Godby 27-yard line. And he was just caught by his shoelaces as number 20, Tyreek James, was able to move over and just catch Corey King. We'll have the replay for you in just a moment from inside Credit Union. We'll actually let this play happen, and then we'll go back and take a look. Clock is close to 3 minutes now here in the fourth quarter. King takes the takes the handoff from Doty, goes down inside the 25-yard line to about the 24. Let's take a look at that replay. Nice job blocking up front by the Celtics. Doty takes the snap, he hands it off to King, who uses his ball carrier vision to find the crease, and at that point it's a foot race. And he almost had the touchdown, except James was able to catch him from behind. But still a great run by the freshman, who has really been a revelation this year for the Celtics. We talked about his fantastic stat line against Father Lopez last week. He's done well here tonight, although he did fumble the football earlier in this half. Now Robert Rivers into spell him. He goes past the 20-yard line down to about the 18. Looks like it's where they'll spot it. Maybe the 17 with forward progress. And looks like that's going to be good enough for a Celtics first down. They will move the chain gang, so it will be a first down. It's actually going to be on the 18-yard line exactly. Clock continues to roll. It's at 2 minutes here in the fourth quarter as the Celtics have the opportunity, it looks like, to get out of here maybe without being shut out. They're down 42-0 against Godby, but they're inside the red zone. It'll be the I formation once again. The lone receiver is Jacob Genovese. Down to the near side of the field, Doty takes a snap. Corey King back in. Tries to go over to the left side, but he is met and driven backwards. The one there for Godby was number 43, Marterry Brown, the sophomore inside linebacker who met King in the hole and drove him back. Clock now down inside a minute and a half. They'll give forward progress right at that same line of scrimmage from King. So does not lose a yard, but doesn't gain one either. Maybe a half a yard. It'll still be 2nd and 10. I formation look once again. They'll bring in Uriah Gilbert to be the lead back in front of King. Handoff goes to King. He'll try to pick his way through the middle of the formation. Keeps the legs churning out near the 10-yard line. That's where they'll spot him. He's just a yard shy of the first down. Clock inside of a minute now, and it'll be 3rd down for the Celtics.
Making that powerful run with Corey King. He was bunched up by a host of
Celtics not going to use their timeouts here. Again, you'd like to get on the board, but you certainly don't want to stop the clock to try to do it. King trying to find the end zone. He does have a first down at this point. He's down to the 7-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. Clock will stop. As now Trinity Catholic will use a timeout. 30 seconds on the clock here in the fourth quarter as the Celtics looking to get on the board for the first time tonight with just under a minute remaining in the game. They'll have the football 1st and goal from the 6-yard line after the timeout. I believe that's the 2nd timeout of the half used by Trinity Catholic, so they will have one more. At this point, you're just looking for the moral victory of getting some points on the board and not getting sent out of here with a shutout. Godby, of course, wanting to bend but not break on the defensive side of the football, want to keep this shutout intact and move to 3-4 on the year. They'll do that either way, but a shutout always looks good in the box score. Timeout over for Trinity Catholic. The offense will head back out there, so will the Godby defense. Looks like Doty's going to line up in the shotgun. It'll be the full house look. They're going to have Juwan Bracey and Uriah Gilbert stand to the right of Doty. King is the back. Handoff goes to King. He'll follow behind those two guys. Keeps the legs churning. He goes down inside the 5-yard line to the 4. And Coach Sturdivant will use his 3rd and final timeout. I like the idea. You have two guys with Bracey and Gilbert. Gilbert 6'3", 350 pounds. That's his listed height and weight. It may be more than that. Juwan Bracey is listed at 6'1", 320 pounds. That's a lot of beef going downhill if you're Trinity Catholic. And you put Corey King, the freshman running back, who's listed at 5'6", 160 pounds. It's tough to find 5 feet 6 inches behind a couple of guys over 6 feet tall and combined 670 pounds. Not to mention the front line, who you have to get through as well. 23 seconds on the clock here in the fourth quarter. It stopped as the Celtics used their third and final timeout of the game, trying to get on the board as they trail 42-0 against Godby. They will have the football, second and goal from the Cougars' 4-yard line. If you don't get the touchdown here, you got to hopefully already have a play in that timeout that you have called, just in case you're stopped short, to where you get everybody quickly back up on the line and try to get one more play off. It's going to be that full house look once again. Actually, it's going to be the Wildcat look. Rivers in. The two lead backs are Bracey and Gilbert. They find someone. Rivers goes right up the middle, and he's in for a touchdown. The clock will roll with the touchdown, so Trinity Catholic might not be able to get an extra point as the clock is at 10 seconds and rolling. But either way, they do get on the board with 20 seconds on the clock as Robert Rivers able to punch it in from 4 yards out behind Jawan Bracey and Uriah Gilbert. Clock stops at half a second just to give Tanner Riggs the opportunity to knock through the extra point. The lefty has been out for a couple weeks with an injury. High snap. Doty's able to get it down. Riggs kicks it up, and it will be good. And that will run the clock out, and that will be your ball game. So the Celtics are able to get on the board in the final waning moments of the football game to avoid the shutout at the hands of Godby. But Godby still with the big win at home, 42-7 over the Celtics. Stick around with us for just a moment. We'll let the team shake hands, and then we will have our scoring summary presented by Insight Credit Union. We'll show you the replays of all scoring in this ball game with our final score of 42-7 Godby. Are we ready to go, Brian? All right, let's go ahead and get it started. It all began back in the first quarter, the 1:15 mark, as this is actually the 2-yard touchdown run by Darius Bradwell from the second quarter at the 9:44 mark. That made the score 14-0 in favor of Godby. Now at 2:56 on the clock here in the second quarter, a 38-yard touchdown from Bradwell to Michael Hudson, who had nobody around him after catching that curl route, and he waltzed in to make the score 21-0. No score remaining in the first half. Then in the third quarter at the 6:25 mark, the big play, the wide receiver screen pass blocked beautifully on the outside by Godby. Michael Kerrigan takes it the rest of the way. It was a 65-yard connection between Bradwell and Kerrigan to make the score 28-0. Then with 2:16 remaining in the third quarter, Darius Bradwell decides to show off his legs. A beautifully designed read option play. He fakes the handoff to Thompson, has a small crease up the middle, breaks one tackle, and then it's off to the races. And the former Kent State commit takes it the rest of the way, 41 yards to make the score 35-0 and give us a running clock here at Gene Cox Stadium. Then in the fourth quarter at the 6:45 mark, Darius Bradwell once again with his legs. He runs in his third touchdown of the ball game. A great block on the outside by Titus Fain allows him to go right down the sideline 34 yards out, makes the score 42-0. And then, of course, with just a few moments left out of the Wildcat formation, Robert Rivers follows behind Jawan Bracey and Uriah Gilbert and sticks it in from 4 yards out to get on the board with just about 20 seconds left on the clock. The clock rolled down to about half a second where they stopped it for Tanner Riggs to add the extra point, and that was the final score, 42-7. It'll be a long ride back to Ocala, there's no doubt about that, but for Trinity Catholic, you've already obtained your goal for the season, and that was to make it to the playoffs. They're 2-0 in the district after beating Father Lopez and the First Academy. Next week they will play at Trinity Prep in Winter Park, Florida. Trinity Prep, as we've mentioned a few times, 6-1 on the year, 2-0 in the district. Both of those teams will represent Class 3A District 3 in the Florida State playoffs. As for Godby, they move to 3-4 on the season. We mentioned they have a big rivalry game, district matchup at Rickards next Friday night, and then they wrap it up the Friday after that in the regular season at Tallahassee Lincoln. Well, it was a long drive up here for us, Brian, but we had a fun time tonight in this matchup between Godby and Trinity Catholic. Certainly didn't work out for the Celtics the way they wanted it to, but there's definitely some things to build on and certainly some momentum going into next weekend's game against Trinity Prep, being able to get on the board there at the end of the ball game as once again Robert Rivers took it in from 4 yards out to make the final score 42-7. For Brian Morgan, I want to thank him for his producing of this ball game, giving you all of our Insight Credit Union replays. I'm Dwayne Cook. Thanks for being with us here on this Friday night on TrinityCatholicHS.org. Again, I'm not sure who's going to be with you next Friday night at Trinity Prep, It'll be a surprise for you, but we'll be right back here on TrinityCatholicHS.org. We hope to have you along with us as Trinity Catholic will wrap up the regular season next week in a district matchup against Trinity Prep. One final time here in Tallahassee, the final score, Godby 42 and Trinity Catholic 7. You have a great rest of your Friday night and a great weekend.